The 10th anniversary of Bitcoin. How far have we gone? If you snooze, you lose. Here you go. Please introduce yourself, who you are, what you do.
I'm Sam Risberg. I'm with SOLminer, the nice 10-foot shipping container outside. It's full of 320 GPUs. Me and my team built that. We've been mining for 2 years. And if you want one, let us know.
Hi, I'm Christy Lee Minahan, Chief Technology Officer with CoreScientific, and we build data centers for blockchain and artificial intelligence.
I'm Phil from Genesis Mining. We build Bitcoin mining data centers, or I should say cryptocurrency mining data centers worldwide, and I make sure that they're all running smoothly.
Hi, my name is Ægir Magnusson. I work for Advania data centers. We build and operate data centers in Iceland using renewable energy and have been working in the business since 2013.
First question, from inception, how has Bitcoin revolutionized the finance industry?
That's a tough one. Well, of course, it's made transactions easier and, well, using blockchain technology, payments will become easier for many people, and it might even make payments less costly and more, quicker and more stable.
That is a hard one for sure. I think we're still in the middle of this process, and we're going to see much more disruption and changes as we go along. But still, we've come a really far way. I really agree with Iggy here that I think the cheap and fast transactions are going to be the main point.
Oh boy. Well, honestly, the fast, frictionless cash aspect of Bitcoin has started to help a lot of the smaller developing countries start understanding more about economics, start experiencing a little bit of financial freedom. And specifically, Bitcoin has brought on an entire new generation of developers inadvertently that have started to get into this space simply through the act of buying and selling crypto. So there's been a lot of a domino effect in this industry thanks to Bitcoin.
I'd say the decentralization and trustless nature of Bitcoin again helps developing nations and the unbanked, people that don't have a social security number or a identification with their country. They can have a cell phone and transact with people in their village or town, and they have complete control over a bank account without needing an intermediary.
All right, so do you foresee any, non-publicly addressed issues such as scalability or affordability of the technology for the future?
It might be less so with Bitcoin, but a 51% attack with enough money and enough government support or government support could, I wouldn't say it for Bitcoin, but be the demise of blockchain. So, if enough governments say, look, let's put a couple $100 billion into controlling this blockchain and have enough computing power to own 51%, they can do what they want with the blocks. So that would probably be something that isn't addressed enough, but I think Bitcoin's big enough to not worry about that.
Carrying on from that, I think there's a lot of game theory as well around these mining attacks. While on paper that they might work in practice or theory, logic and law actually stops a lot of these mining attacks in real life. So if a government starts to get into this space, they're going to have to answer to quite a lot of legal folks. They're going to have to answer to other countries as well, especially if they did an attack on Bitcoin technology as a whole. On unaddressed issues, two big ones. Yes, scalability is a very hot topic, but the other topic most folks aren't talking about is the effect of quantum computing on Bitcoin. Does it affect the Bitcoin mining algorithm? Does it not? Is there fear of, certain wallets being hacked, so on and so forth? There's a lot of fear in the space around quantum computing, and it's not a well-studied field that, a lot of people have opinions on right now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of technological challenges that we have faced and that we will continue to face with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Scalability is a very important one. We're just seeing a phase in the last, let's say, 2 years where people have been using cryptocurrencies enough to actually push the limits of the technology. And we're still in the very early phases of finding solutions to that. So Lightning Network, other layer 2 solutions, sharding, very interesting topics currently that have not been properly deployed yet. And I think this is going to be a very interesting development in the next years to see how that goes.
Yeah, I think it's also important just for us to educate other people about Bitcoin. People in here know a lot about cryptocurrency and what it's about, but I think the general public lacks knowledge in what it is actually that's going on. And when they know what's going on, it will, make people more comfortable about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and, what the future holds for us.
So, next question. How has
blockchain changed our lives? More specifically, how has blockchain and Bitcoin changed your life?
Well, I've been traveling the world because of Bitcoin. I've been all over the continents, going to conferences and meeting interesting people and very smart people who are in the forefront of technology. And of course, it's been
a hectic 6 last year since I got into Bitcoin mining, and seems only to becoming more and more interesting.
So what I love about the Bitcoin mining space is just how interdisciplinary the whole thing is. I got into it as a software developer and joined in and saw how it went. You meet so many interesting people in the field, from the data center business, from the hardware business, from mechanical design, electrical design, cooling systems, and of course all the crypto stuff with the blockchain things and transactions, smart contracts. There's so many different fields that all go together, and we meet in places like here. That's a really big joy.
Oh man, also a tough question. So for me personally, Bitcoin has been a critical part of my upbringing, a critical part of what has drove a lot of my ideas, theories, and personal morals in this space. And Bitcoin has not only taught me a career around software development and hardware development, but it's helped grow me into the executive that I am today, that currently works at CoreScientific. And all around the world, there are people like me that have gotten into software development or hardware development simply because of Bitcoin and the act of cryptocurrency mining. And that is quite powerful in and of itself. It's amazing how to think that just a small bit of code that was thrown into a cryptographic mailing list now has made itself all the way up to Congress as of last week, where we actually had congressmen in the US talking about Bitcoin. And we've had a few choice words also said at Congress. And finally, shitcoin was recognized as a monetary term. Very proud of that.
I guess the trustless nature of Bitcoin, when I first heard about it, was an interesting concept. Was very skeptical about it, and going down the rabbit hole, reading Satoshi's white paper and learning how he solved the double spend issue, and just going deeper and deeper into the history of it, the concepts of it, eventually getting the hardware of mining, and even deeper into timing straps and undervoltage, and I'm sure a very deep rabbit hole. It's shaped the past 2 years of my life. It's physically and mentally been everything I've done, and I love it. I hope Bitcoin is the world's currency in the next 10, 20 years, because the world needs a decentralized, bankless system of currency.
All right, so for my last question for you guys, a year ago, Bitcoin was regarded to rat poison squared, fresh harvest baby brains, and even a money laundering scheme. What is the public opinion today? How has that changed?
Because of the volatility, I don't know that that's changed too much. And I mean, unfortunately, mass thought is all dependent on price. So if Bitcoin tanks to 3,000, then everyone will say, I told you so, it was a scam. If it goes up to 20,000 or 40,000, it's a bubble and it's gonna pop. So it's probably gonna just keep doing that until either more stability or more, I guess, institutional investment, and they can go to their, their investment firm and say, hey, I want to get into crypto, and their firm is actually positive about it, which is years off. So I don't think much has changed, unfortunately, in mass adoption, but opinions are slowly changing, and for the people that matter, we don't care what the masses think because they're just going to find out. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You know, a year ago today, I wouldn't have thought it was even possible that we would have Bitcoin being talked about in Congress. That was really, really surprising to hear. Specifically to hear Congress say that not only is Bitcoin unstoppable, but so is blockchain technology. Bitcoin, over the last 10 years, it's sort of gotten to the point where people realize that it is inevitable. This technology and this cryptocurrency is not going away. We see it in all of our businesses. Microsoft accepts Bitcoin. Quite a few game providers in the US accept Bitcoin now. Quite a lot of stores, there's ATMs. The technology is not disappearing. It's so deeply embedded right now in the retail industry and in the hardware industry. Even Avnet, who's here today, is starting to accept Bitcoin. This technology is so deeply rooted in our day-to-day lives that it has now become inevitable. It's become as easy to spend as if we were spending fiat. And what we're starting to see is that quite a few folks in the space no longer care about the price. The price is just, an upside. If it goes down, yes, we get a little bit sad, but at the end of the day, the benefit of Bitcoin is that it is an immutable technology. It's not disappearing. It didn't disappear 10 years ago. It's not going to disappear in the next 10 years.
Right. I think the public perception of Bitcoin has not completely fundamentally changed yet. I really agree with what you said earlier, because still there's a lot of volatility. People often see it still just like an investment opportunity, like a get-rich-quick scheme. But I think one really fundamental thing has changed, and that's that the big decision makers, the influencers, and the leaders of our society have noticed what Bitcoin really is, and they've kind of understood the concept. It hasn't quite trickled down yet, I think, to everyone, but I think that's going to happen soon. So while I think it's still mostly an investment vehicle for most people, it's definitely gotten more serious, and the big guys are getting involved.
Yeah, I think it's very important, like I mentioned earlier, to educate the general public about the benefits of Bitcoin and what it can do for us in the future. And of course, not only Bitcoin, but blockchain technology as well. And we often see there is resistance in the market from the old school financial institutions, credit card companies, and other big players in the market. But we just have to fight back and introduce benefits and let people know what's possible and what the future has in store for us.